door knock is about 5 times more effective than a phone call. And a phone call is probably 5 or 10 times more effective than a piece of mail.
Welcome everybody to this episode of the weekly National Real Estate News with the Wise Agent Society. I'm excited to see everybody today. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Patrick Adams from Las Vegas, Nevada. He is a realtor extraordinaire in Las Vegas, and he's covered a lot of cool stuff over the years. Really excited to talk to him about what's going on in the real estate market in Las Vegas now. I'll tell you that he used to be an amazing and still is, I would say, one of the experts on door knocking in an area. He also has tons of information and experience now with short-term rentals and investor properties. Of course, we're also joined with the lovely Tara Andrews, who's always here to help us and make sure the show goes well. Pat and I go way back to the Keller Williams days in Las Vegas. We were friends there, and we also used to it was called Rockstar Networking Events. You know what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, and so we used to have some really cool events. Pat and I did. We'd have like 100 people show up to these different locations, and it was serious fun. So we'll get into that a little bit more later. Just wanted to say hi to you, Pat. Maybe just let everybody know kind of what you've done. Tell us a little history about your real estate history and where you're at now.
Well, thanks for having me, Shay. So, my family goes way back in Hawaii in real estate. My grandfather was a huge developer. I didn't realize it until there was an article that we found from the 60s, I think it was, or maybe early 70s. It showed his office, and he had all these projects, like 10 projects. And these projects are like 500 homes, 1,000 homes, all of them on the board, all of them the whole island. Like he developed tens of thousands of houses. He was the D.R. Horton of Hawaii back in the day.
What was his name?
Joe Pao.
Pao? P-O-W?
Pao is P-A-O, is Portuguese.
Pao, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
So there's a lot of history there. And long story, and the only reason I'm not rich because of that is because my mom and them didn't do very well with it. And I'll just leave it. There was a few things that lawsuits and things like that really kind of destroyed a lot of that. But
that's too bad. But cool history though. Still neat.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So anyway, I sort of had it in my blood, right? And then from Hawaii, we visited North Carolina for 5 years, and I decided to jump into real estate there. I didn't know anybody. So what did I do? Need to talk. What's the name of the game in real estate, if you think about it, right? Talking to human beings.
Mm-hmm.
They have a breath, if they can breathe, it's a good conversation, right? So I went door knocking, and I did it very consistently, and I developed a couple farms, and it was pretty amazing. Amazing.
And how were you doing production-wise or whatever in North Carolina? Like how many houses were you selling a year? Or?
About 20. About 20.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
What was one of the biggest things is I developed this one neighborhood, right? This was an aha, if you will, from back then. I developed this neighborhood, and I sort of stopped going into it for about a year, right? And then I went into it. I went back after about a year because I was going about every 2-3 months. So I skipped like a year. I went back into it, and I got like 3 listings like within a week.
Wow.
And all these people just knew who I was, and the timing was right, and it was just boom, 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 boom. It was pretty amazing.
Wow, that's cool. So it's consistency and probably just a little bit of timing, right?
Some timing, but yeah, consistency. Just getting to know people. I had developed so many relationships. People would know who I was. They saw my sign. Yep, Pat's at it again.
Pat's at it again. That's Pat's famous
A lot of
tagline.
people
Pat's
know
at
that.
it again.
That
And
was
then
on
you've
every
done some,
product we ever put out.
yes.
So
And
then
so
anyway,
you would,
so I moved out here, and I'm sort of at square one. I knew literally, like, you're the second person I ever met, since
yeah,
I was here, right? You
I was the
remember
first
that day?
one.
That day he came to my house to pick up
I
tickets
came
to
on,
football.
I came on a Harley.
So anyway, so I'm here, and honestly, before I actually was licensed, I'm like, what am I going to do? So I had a friend of my brother's that was a real estate agent, and he pulled some market data for me to put on the flyer, which was to me one of the most important things because
Yeah.
I did the flyers, and that's kind of a side topic, but I did the flyers with sort of the look at me, I'm really cool type of thing. I sold this house and that house and all that, and
Yeah.
of course I did it with the market data.
Yes.
And I noticed that they always looked at the market data.
Yeah.
That's what mattered. They don't care about you. They cared about the market data. So that was
Right.
sort of what I focused on.
The you
So anyway,
part is more of the relationship, probably, right? So the you part is you being there, showing up. They know who you are. You're talking to them. You're being helpful. And then the data is what they want to know as far as information goes.
exactly. Yes. 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 I mean, they
Yep.
definitely, a lot of people talk to you. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I started a month or two before I actually got licensed. In my first month here, I think I had 3 listings. Very first one.
Wow.
Two of them were from door knocking. One of them was my wife had a friend who was at the house, and I heard her talking about her. I'm upstairs. I could hear downstairs, and I heard her talking about the house. She couldn't sell it or something. I went down, and it had been
Your
expired.
realtor ears picked up, and you're like, somebody's talking
Yeah.
real.
I didn't hear a word they said the whole night. And all of a sudden, wait, what? Selling house? Boom, I'm downstairs.
Whoa, hey, we should talk.
It turned out that her house was expired, and I signed her up that night.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome, dude.
yeah, so it was a good start. And then I just kept going,
Yeah.
door knocking, door knocking, door knocking.
In the Lone Mountain area, primarily to start, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
So
you
that's
still
kind of
run.
what did it. That's what did it.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get into some market data here, but I know people are probably curious about this. It's like, how many houses would you door knock in a day and or in a week or a month, and how did that look? And then how did you keep track of who you talked to and that?
Let me see if I can remember the numbers. I started with a spreadsheet.
Yep.
So I would write, I started with, I had all the numbers handwritten, right? All the streets and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually on a piece of paper. Then I transferred it to a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And
You carry clipboard, right?
I did it on a clipboard. That's how I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to update the spreadsheet every day too, which was kind of a pain because you get all your notes, right? So I would go back to the same house every 3 months. And then I'd have notes, and I got to go back to the spreadsheet and put it back in. It became very time consuming. So I found an app called Spotio, which is now basically Toast. They only do like larger things anymore. But anyway, I was using Spotio. So you go up to the door, and it has it's on like a map, and you click on it, and it has all your notes in there and things like that. And so the numbers, I got them pretty clear. In 3 hours, I could do about 100 doors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 22% talk to rate. So I talked to 22 people in 103 hours. Mm-hmm. And so it would take about I think it was about 100 contacts to get a listing.
Okay.
So 5 days, I talked to 100 people.
Yeah.
And normally that would convert into a listing. So 5 days, 15 hours.
Wow.
So the numbers, when I got clear on the numbers, it was pretty amazing. Back then, our commission was like $7,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even then, you're doing 15 hours, $7,000. That works out to $500 an hour in terms of what you're doing. Now, of course, the conversation at the door is a starting point, right? And of course, sometimes I'm going to get a listing the first day. Sometimes I'm not going to get a listing for 2 months.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it just depends.
That's where that consistency comes in.
It's the consistency. So I might look. I had listed a house about a year ago and sold it. And I had talked to those people the very first time I started door knocking in my old neighborhood in Las Vegas. Like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what people don't realize too. And the same for me is that 4 to 6 year range on lead follow-up and keeping in relationship and follow-up is the gold mine. You know, that's where you're getting over time.
Some are gonna convert in a week.
Sure, yeah.
Those are very, very rare though. But if you do it every single day, you're gonna get a couple a year that are within a week. And then some are going to convert in a month, and some are going to convert in 3 months, and some are going to convert in 3 years. You just got to keep going. The more numbers you do, it's cumulative.
Yeah. You know what else I like what you said, and that is imperative to success, is you track your numbers, and that you got clear on your numbers is what you said. And that's it. I mean, when you're doing stuff down to that detail, and it's not hard, it's not complicated, you're just paying attention and tracking what you're doing, and then and then you can adjust, and then you can duplicate.
Well, here's the thing, Shay. So look at it this way too. And I literally did this, right? So 100 contacts, right? Converts into a listing.
Yep.
It was pretty close to that. Okay. So $7,000, 100 contacts equals $7,000.
Yep.
That's $70 per no.
Right.
So when the guy's being an asshole at the door, I'm like the no's are good because every single no leads to a yes, right?
Right.
But when the guy's being an asshole at the door, like, thanks, bud, I appreciate it. That's $70.
Yeah, thank you for the $70.
Literally like cashing a $70 check every time I talk to somebody at the door.
Yeah, and then so what was I going to say about that? Here's a good question: is first of all, how often were people not very nice to you at the door?
Once a day.
Once a day, somebody was rude?
Yeah, and it's not that bad. I mean,
I remember I've door knocked.
Close the door in my face kind of thing. Like I'm talking and they're closing the door. Whatever.
They don't go off.
Like, I'm not crying, okay? Right. Sometimes it get a little more crazy than that. And those are about once every couple of weeks, probably.
Okay.
Here's the funny story. Talk about tracking, like your conversations, right?
Yeah.
So I remember this one where I had been talking to this guy like 6 times over like a year, like every month he's there, you know, or every month and every 3 months he's there, right?
Yeah.
I talked to him every time. So like I had like 6 notes for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was using the app and I screwed it up. So when I got to his door, I had the wrong note and I forget what I had, but it wasn't his information. So I'm like, yeah, I think we talked before. And he's like, screw you, dude. It's like, we talked a lot. Like get out of here. And he
knew you messed up. Oh, man. Dang it. Yeah, well, that happens. I mean, when you're dealing with a ton of people.
It was the one time where I didn't have my notes in order and I didn't remember who he was.
Well, it's a good lesson. We all screw up, and I've done it. And, you know, there's times when you look unprofessional and, you know, whatever. I've had it happen more than one time. And, you know, you just got to do the best you can, regroup and move forward. And, you know, you got to be not afraid to look like an idiot sometimes because that's how you get there. Right?
You have to revel in that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Anyway, so the other thing I did over all that period in the beginning is expires and for sale by owners.
Mm-hmm.
I tried going to expired doors and they were not happy. Like they were really not happy. Like, but I would still just drop off information, things like that. The for sale by owners were really good going to the door. But again, it was about consistency. I had to go back over and over again. I had to call them over and over again. And sometimes it's just getting there at the right moment. And a couple where I just get the listing right the first time.
I love it. Yeah, I used to do that with
Shay. Sometimes I'm going back 15 times to get the listing.
Sure. Well, that's what they say is like 7 is the minimum on follow-up, right?
Yeah, I think
Seven
so.
calls, 7 to 10 calls before like something will convert.
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean, right? Like when you're in person, I count that as about 5 times more effective than a phone
I
call.
agree. I agree.
So,
Yeah, that's true. So you can cut that down. No, I used to do that
I
with
was coached by a guy
FISBOs.
named Steve Butch, who was the
Do what?
ultimate FISBO expired door knocker.
Steve Futch.
He was a Mike Ferry coach back then.
Okay. He's coached you to do all this stuff? Or a lot
He
of it?
coached me not for the door knocking, but for expires and FISBOs.
Okay. Yeah, I think showing up to those is really important. I
That
used
guy
to
was
do
out 8 hours a day. He was out 8 hours a day, knocking on
like,
doors,
oh, really? Wow.
going to all the FISBOs and expires, going back.
Did he clean up?
He expires at 7 a.m. to be the first one at the door.
Wow.
That
Did he
kind of
clean
stuff.
up though? Was he like super successful?
Yeah, he was solid. Yeah, he was.
That's
big
like
time.
Richard Stone in San Diego. I mean, guy just door knocks by himself now with his sons. We've talked about him.
Yeah, we did talk about him, and he was.
Clean
One
up.
thing I'll never forget. He said that because the question is always if another agent's working in a neighborhood, if they're farming that neighborhood, should I door knock that neighborhood?
Yeah.
And in general, the answer is no. But he told the story about how he kicked them out just by door knocking. Because like I said, a door knock is about 5 times more effective than a phone call. And a phone call is probably 5 or 10 times more effective than a piece of mail.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, you get there and you get that face-to-face relationship going and you're nice and helpful and professional. I mean, that seems like a shoe-in to me.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so for sharing all that cool stuff on that. We're kind of blending this. Normally, we just talk data on this show, but I did want to talk to you about that stuff because I knew that it would be helpful and people would like to see it. So why don't we shift gears now and with the time we have left and talk about Las Vegas real estate market and data and news and kind of what you see going on.
Okay, so here we go.
Oh,
so, can you see that?
Paul Benedict. Love Paul. I remember these. I remember when he was asked to start making this list. That was freaking 10, 11, 12 years ago. Yeah. I remember the day she asked him to do it, or he did it once, and she was like, Debbie was like, "Oh, this is amazing. Will you continue to do this then, and you'll be the guy?" And he goes, "Yeah, I guess I will."
Chris is doing it more often now, I think.
Chris who?
Anyway, so we do a mastermind in our office that you know about every month.
Yep.
Where we talk about what's going on in the market, and this guy puts together this market data, and there it is. I mean, 455 was our median price for single-family homes. That's as of August 8th. Okay, and so if you look going back. In March, it was 430. So we actually went up, but it's down 1% from the prior year, or 3%
year over year. Okay.
From the prior year. So we've had a crazy, I'll show you the rest of the data.
Yeah.
We're a little bit weirder than the rest, I think. Condos at 274, that's down a little bit. If you look from January, it's up from January 255 to 274. Verticals are high rise.
Okay, high rise.
Verticals are high rises, 357. I don't really like this because there's not a lot of stuff going on here. Look, we're down 18% in June, we're down 6%. It just varies so much.
Wacky on the high rise.
And then vertical residential and condo hotels.
Condo hotels made the list now. This list has grown since I've been at this office. It's cool.
Yeah, but even that's weird. Weird.
It's funky.
293
condo hotels are
20, so they're up. I'm selling 4 of those right now. So
4 condo hotels. What building?
Palms Place. And we're selling them for right about 320.
Wow, how about that? What are those? 3.2, 2.2? I mean,
no, the ones we have are just a suite.
Okay.
It's like a nice hotel room.
Yeah, right. I forgot condo hotel is probably best case 1 bedroom.
Yeah, best case 1 bedroom. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so everything median price 415, which by the way, you mentioned Redfin, right?
Yeah.
Redfin has the exact same number, which I think was interesting because Paul pulls it from the MLS, right? This is MLS, and Redfin had 415 also.
Yeah, Redfin's their market update data is pretty spot on.
Down 3.5% from last year. And again, going back to March was 400. So we're up whatever. What is that? 3% probably from March, but down from last year. He's got the national data 410. And that's down 0.9%, right?
Yep. Yeah, I feel like the West Coast is down. The East Coast is kind of up, and it depends on where. There's parts that are way up, and some that
it's
are
crazy
down.
how different it is throughout the one thing that I know for sure is that inventory is at ridiculously all-time lows right now. And do you want to talk about why that is, or does everybody know already?
You can bring it up again. We talk about it almost every segment. So yeah, what do you give us your take on it?
Well, my perspective is very simple. People are stuck with their mortgage rates.
Mm-hmm. Why would you move and lose your low rate?
You could, I don't know, we could probably figure it out in about 2 minutes, but I could literally downsize from, let's say I have a house, a $500,000 house with a $400,000 mortgage. I could downsize to probably a 350 with a $250,000 mortgage. My payment would probably be about the same.
Yep.
It's crazy. So the only reason I'm going to move is if I'm moving to a different market. And even then, I'll probably just rent out that house, right? And maybe I'll rent my house for a while. Or, just whatever. It's got to be a really important reason to move.
Yeah. Or now's a good time to buy as well, because when rates go down, the demand is going to go through the roof because people are sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And, I've been around a lot longer than most people now in my old age.
Yeah, and you're pretty decrepit.
Yeah, I'm decrepit, man. And so we're at 7%, which I've been there, it's been a while, but I've been at 7%.
Yeah.
And interest rates always go down.
Yep.
And so if you can afford the 7%, it's a good time to buy, because when else are you going to buy it? I don't see this market going down because inventory.
Yep. And when it does go down
and people start freeing up, well, guess what? There's going to be 1 million buyers just waiting to get in.
Yeah. So if you can afford it,
I think if you can afford it, all you got to is look forward to number one is you're going to have more interest payments, which is going to drive your taxes down. Back in Hawaii, Shay, I had my interest $20,000 per year. So I had a $20,000 deduction, which was pretty damn sweet.
What was it again? Say that again.
My interest on my mortgage is $20,000 a year.
Oh, so that was a deduction for you.
So I had a $20,000 deduction on my taxes, which was a pretty sweet write-off. And then, I had so many kids, right? So, so with 6 kids and a $20,000, our taxes were really low.
That's sweet. See, that's smart investing. Like, people don't understand that you get those perks when you're doing real estate investing.
6 kids, bro. 6 kids.
Well, and then have a lot of kids too. That's helpful. What's that? The earned income credit, or?
It was it was like $3,000 per kid, maybe more. It was a lot. I think I got, just there was $40,000, right? Back then we could write off medical and yeah. Anyway, so back to this.
Well, let's talk about inventory and all that, or where are we at now?
So we were talking about kind of the national market.
Yeah.
I'm going to move down. So price per square foot, we don't need to talk about that.
Well, that is interesting though, because 241 is resale average price per square foot. gosh dang, when I was there, and it's been 6 or 7 years now, it was nowhere
Your
near.
super nice house was probably $100 a foot, maybe
Yeah,
less.
yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. So this is cool. Uh,
So this resale right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse.
yep, we can.
2506, those are the number of sales for July, and that's down 3% from year over year. And then the down 10% is the previous month.
The previous year,
so,
you mean?
No, from June.
Which number is which?
2506 is down 10% from the previous month.
From the previous month, okay.
June we sold 2795. July we sold 25. So it's 300 units lower.
Yeah.
10% decrease. Anyway, and then you look back at March, and we have a graph for this that's a little bit better. But these are pretty small numbers. And so you know what that means. That means nobody's doing a ton of, I mean, some people are doing a ton, but most people aren't, right? The people that are hustling.
Sales? You're talking about sales? Sales for realtors is down? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, we're doing half the number. I think it's half or 40% less than or bigger numbers, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like anything. The people that are hustling are still doing numbers, but a lot of people are doing a lot less.
Yep.
So anyway,
which is kind of good and bad. Like, you know, for the people that want to take market share, right now is a great time to do it because people are two things. People are maybe thinking about getting out of the business or whatever, and so there's people that are in it and in it to win it. They're doubling down and they're getting it done. And then another thing,
people have gotten out. It's lower than I would have thought at this point.
What is it? Do you know? I don't know. I've seen the numbers, but I don't know them off the top of my head, like nationally.
I think I'd heard some like nationwide we lost like 100,000, which is off of like 1.3 million, so less than 10%.
Almost 2 million when you talk about real estate agents. So maybe realtors. Maybe realtors. It's probably like 1.8 to 2 million total licensed agents, but if we're talking about just realtors, that's probably more like what you just said.
Here, I have Barty.
Who, Jeff Barta?
Barty is the Google AI.
Oh.
How many licensed real estate agents are there in the United States this year?
Look at this. We're getting an AI show too.
So Barty says 2020, 1.45. Barty's data is a little bit behind.
1.45. Okay. Well, that's licensed realtors? Or licensed real estate agents? Is that real estate agents?
1.45 members. 1.45 members. Yeah.
Of NAR?
Yeah, NAR.
Okay, so there's more than that are licensed agents.
I don't know how many more. It might be 30%, right?
That's quite a bit, but yeah. So probably, like I said, close to 2 million is what the number is.
Anyway, Barty's a little out of date.
That's okay. This is a good idea.
Okay, so going back to this, our days on market is 14 days. That's still relative, pretty damn low, right?
Yeah.
Back in October, it's 27. So we've dropped quite a bit. And look, even here, January 41, February 40, we're down to 14. 27% increase from a year ago. So we've sort of been in the toilet for over a year.
What do you mean by in the toilet? Low
volume.
Yeah, year over year it was way less. So now there's more. A little more?
I'm going to show you. We got a graph. Here. Okay, so inventory is 4,500, which is very, very low. And I got the graph for that.
All right.
Under contract.
I want to see REO. So 33 REOs out of all of them. That's not very many, so that's good. Less than 1%.
Yeah, and we'll never see that. We won't see REOs for a very long time.
Don't know how. Yeah. People sitting on so much equity.
So much equity. Shay, back in whatever it was, 96, the equity was like nobody had equity. I think in Las Vegas, we probably have more equity than most markets, right? Because we had so many foreclosures.
Yeah.
So all these people that bought into all these properties, they have instant equity, right? And then of course the market tripled since then. So if I bought it
they bought it 10 years ago.
Huh?
I said, think of people who bought 10 years ago.
Well, it sounds about 14 years, right? But if I bought a foreclosure and the median price was 100 grand, right? But maybe I got a foreclosure at 75,000. Now that house is worth 415.
Yep.
That's some serious equity.
Yep.
Okay, so
I like the absorption was 1.8 months. So that's how much inventory you have. Is that right?
Yeah.
The absorption? 1.8 months.
Okay, so here's the graph.
Oh boy.
Let me zoom this out a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so here's where we're at. This is the July data, right? And these are the number of sales. We're at 2,500. Our low was January.
Yep.
1,600.
Typical.
What's that?
I said that's typical in our fourth quarter. Activity is the lowest.
Yeah, but look how low it is. Look where we're at over here.
Oh gosh.
We're at 4,600. The prior January was right here. We did 31. That's
wow.
More than double.
Yeah, that is a lot. Wow, that is crazy, man.
And
it looks like it's creeping up a little this year. I mean, we're down real low in that last quarter last year.
Here, look, July we're down pretty low to 25, and then June was 28, right? Prior July was 25, so that's really a similar number.
Yeah, you're right. So it should creep way down if this trend is the same way in the next few months.
Well, that's the thing. So you look at these, January, look at March, 4,000 units. We're at 20, almost 29. That's a 30% decrease.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you go back to, the pandemic and all that, I think we were, I forget what these numbers are, but they were quite larger.
Yeah.
They were bigger than this, that.
Yep.
So I think that we were doing more over here than a lot of the market. And now our inventory is really constrained and we're lower than everybody.
There's a lot of them that are very low.
I don't know if this matters to a lot of these people, but Redfin, the California data was crazy.
Yeah, California data. That's what I was saying. I've gone over that quite a bit. And
they have all these people from California. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see it. This is one of my favorite maps that show the in and the out.
Yeah, it shows the ins and the outs.
Where people are moving to and from. This is a great. Have you looked at this before?
5,000 from LA, May through July.
That's inbound.
May, June. So that's 2 months.
That's inbound.
5,000 just from LA. San Francisco, 2,000.
Oh, to inbound to Vegas, yeah.
That's net. Now, I don't know how they know this. Did you report when you left? I didn't report when I came.
No, what it
Redfin and say, hey, Redfin, I just moved to Vegas, bro.
No, checking in. No, at the bottom it says it's not actual. It's based on what people are looking to move to, from where they're looking and where. So it's hypothetical.
Okay.
But still cool. I mean, it still gives you an idea.
Graph? Where did that graph go?
There's his new honey.
My honey.
Okay,
so here's the inventory, Shay.
There you go.
So look at this.
Gosh dang, look at that difference.
10,000 units in October. And we're down to 45.
10,000 seems like a lot in general.
Okay, but usually what happens in the summer, Shay?
More activity.
More inventory, bro.
We have more inventory too. Yeah, you're right. Everything.
Look right here.
Usually.
If you go back over 10 years, inventory, the January, February is when we're in the toilet in inventory.
Wow. Yeah. What a difference.
This is like really weird data.
I don't know.
And it's all brought to you by the Fed, right?
By the Fed? Yeah, it's true.
And then look, and this is despite the fact that we're not selling anything.
Mm-hmm. Well,
we're at record low sales and our inventory is still low. It means we're like in gridlock.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It's kind of everybody's stuck.
Everybody's stuck.
Kind of in their situations until,
but, like Gary Keller always talks about, he started at 18% or whatever it was, 14%, and he still did it, right? And he just said, I'm just going to do it. And he just started making the calls.
Yep.
And so you can still do it. You can still do it. You can't get stuck. I mean, I've got some stuff. I'm fortunate, right? I'm not grinding like I used to, but I got people.
Let's talk about that a little bit. We can be done with this if you like, and just you can stop your screen.
Yeah, I think we've hit the major parts of the data, haven't we?
What's that?
So I'll close my screen.
Yeah, and then just stop sharing at wherever the button is for that. And then we can talk. We can kind of end this with your. Tell us a little bit more about your properties, and then not only that, but your short-term rental take on what's going on, because you have some clients that have that going on too, right? So we got about 5 minutes if you want to wrap up with that stuff.
Short-term rentals is really hard, and I think it's. I think that you got to get lucky. You got to be in the right market. Most markets, I think, are flooded with inventory, and
how's Vegas?
And all your municipalities are really clamping down with major rules. What I think, city of Las Vegas, which is just about a quarter of our market, right?
Yes.
It's not the Strip. For people that, that's an interesting thing. The Strip is not in the city, it's in the county. But the city basically said, you need to live in the house to Airbnb it, to short-term rental it, and you can only rent out rooms. And so most people just didn't care what the city said, and Airbnb was advertising it. But now Airbnb and VRBO and Booking.com, they all fell in line. And so if your house is there, you have to live there, and it has to be permitted and everything else. So now we've got the county, which is, 40% of the area. Okay. And the county, the state actually required the county to get licensed. And they put out all these parameters. And basically what they did is they put out so many things to make it virtually impossible to get licensed. Wow. And now what they're doing is they're basically saying, okay, we're going to put you through the licensing, but if you make one mistake, you're back in line. You can try again next year. They're not answering phones. They've muddled the process to the point where nobody understands what the hell's going on. It's kind of like they're just saying, we're just going to make this so hard that most people are just going to give up.
And that's the state doing that, right?
No, that's the county.
Oh, the county's making it difficult.
The county is just making it ridiculous. And then you've got North Las Vegas and Henderson. We have 4 municipalities. And in those, you've got fairly strict requirements.
I thought Henderson was cool. I thought Henderson was.
You can do it. You have to be within 660. You have to be 660 feet away from another unit. You have to be the owner. All these different things. So for the most part, you can do it, but it's very hard.
Okay.
It's very hard.
All great information.
But it's that way everywhere. One place where it's completely legal, for example, is Arizona, Phoenix, right? You can do whatever you want there, but it's just flooded out there. Nobody's making money.
Yeah. I've looked on some of the stuff. What do you call it? There's an Airbnb calculator site that AirDNA. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you some data, and so you look at it. You look at it, and it's like it just. You say you don't think it's reliable?
No, I don't think it's reliable.
Well, not even ballpark.
I think it depends on the market.
Yeah, I was looking at Big Bear, for example, in California, Big Bear Lake, and just seeing, and it's it's like so saturated. And that was before now. Now it's even worse, I think. So now, that was like a couple years ago.
They got regulations going there too. Yeah. San Diego's got massive regulations.
Yes.
It's just very hard everywhere. My mom's place in Maui was doing pretty well. And we didn't even permit that place because it was 10 pages. You need to have like a hearing, like a neighborhood hearing and all this stuff. Instead, forget it. Airbnb's still letting us do it. The county makes a ton of money. I mean, we're paying them $1,000 a month in property taxes.
Wow. And that's because it's a short-term rental, so then it pays more?
Doubled for that, yeah.
Got it.
Double.
Okay.
So imagine there's tens of thousands of these things paying $1,000 a month, and you're the county, and you're like, what are we going to do? Like, we can't shut these things down.
They want the money.
Plus, they bring the tourism in.
Yeah.
Plus, these people that own them are out shopping and buying and all these other things too. It's a part of the economy there more than in Hawaii. But of course, now it's shut down completely.
Yeah.
Maui's like it's a pandemic in Maui right now.
Because people think it's not open, but it is, right?
It is open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our area is kind of not. There's no internet. That's about it.
Yeah.
But the internet will be back probably very, very soon. So.
Oh, good. Good to know.
But that's unique, and there are markets like that. But you got to find them.
Yeah. Well, real quick here, you own several units, or are you down to just a couple left, or what do you have?
I had 10 that I actively manage. 4 of them were Palms Place.
4 of them were what?
Palms Place, the condo hotels.
Oh, Palms Place, yeah.
But I had 6 others.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down to 4 at Palms. One's going to be sold here in a few days. Mm-hmm. We're not making any money there.
Mm.
My clients are making about $500 a month on a $300,000 investment.
Hmm. What about your personal ones? Do you have any personal rentals left?
My mom's, and then I actually, I have a deal with a guy to work on his, and that's not making any money.
Sure. Well, right on.
So I'm about to drop them.
You had a bunch and sold and kind of.
I have a client. My clients have one other house too. That is working in North Las Vegas, and that's doing very well.
Oh, good. In North Las Vegas, so that's good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we're about out of time now for today, but I wanted to thank you so much for coming on, buddy. Miss hanging out with you, miss doing all our stuff. I'm going to be there October 1st through the 6th. I'm going to be in town for EXPCon. But if you want to hang out or do whatever,
come to EXPCon, huh?
You come to EXPCon, baby. There's all kinds of people that come. KW people come to EXPCon. Every single one I go to.
How many times already?
I know. Well, if you want to come again, let me know. We'll kick it a little bit.
I'll meet you for breakfast. How's that?
Something, yeah. It'd be cool if you could meet a couple of my buddies too. You can't do the early morning day drinking, dude. But yes, let's hang out. We're going to be there. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, everybody out there, thank you for joining us for this episode.
Yes.
Next week we will be doing every week we do our Tuesdays. It's the Sharpen the Saw show. Who do we have next week, Tara, for Sharpen the Saw?
Barry Overton.
Barry Overton, my amigo in Denver and business partner. And then also, what do we have for next Thursday for our market report there?
Brent Conley.
Brent Conley, my other amigo within my group of folks at EXP. And he's a badass dude that ran a brokerage in San Diego and in Phoenix for a long time. And he's, I think, primarily in Phoenix now. But he's an amazing guy. So we have 2 great shows, 2 great guests coming up next week. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Adios.
Peace out.